Well, well, boys and girls, let's continue The Witcher 3. Um, this is part 44, and in the previous part, what I did is that I started Blood and Wine, so I did a couple of quests. I mainly did the main quest, which is the finding the next victim, speaking with Anna Henrietta, and we met Regis. We found the beast, and we discovered who the beast is, and we found unfortunately our friend Peyrock, whatever his name is, Perak. Um, he got killed. I think it was him or something. Yeah. And in the very beginning, I think I was looking for some Witcher gear. So that's it. Let's continue Blood and Wine. With the main quest, La Cage aux Folles. At least that's how you pronounce it in French. I'm not sure how to pronounce it in English.
Sir! A letter for you, sir!
Letter? Who from?
Can't rightly say, sir. I was just to deliver it.
Here. And thanks.
No, sir. Thank you. And I truly hope I'll be of service again.
My dear Geralt.
I hope all is well. I imagine you hot on the trail of some nasty monster. Or is it an overly complex curse this time? Oh, Geralt, I wish I knew for certain. Whatever is keeping you busy, perhaps you'll need a break. For those moments, I offer you this intriguing little mystery I happened on in an old manuscript I bought off a merchant from Nazaire. The tome's author claims a certain Professor Moreau once called Beauclair home, and this professor conducted research into Witcher mutations. I don't know much else, but I suspect that alone might pique your interest. The tome mentioned a journal interred with the scholar when he passed. It could very well lead you to his laboratory. I'm enclosing a map I found folded in the tome. It's smudged in a few places, but I hope it proves useful anyway. Please be careful and come back to me quickly. Your Triss.
A professor who studied Witcher mutations. Might actually be worth looking into.
Your flinty hide.
You get this letter. Okay. This letter is narrated either by Triss or Yennefer, or
I wonder what the old lady's fixing for
or I don't know who. If you decide to romance both girls, I don't know. I'm not sure what is the third option, but it's narrated. If you choose Triss, it's Triss. If you choose Yennefer, it's Yennefer. Or maybe Yennefer's letter is a little bit different. I'm not sure. I gotta. I'll refresh my memory, because as I said, at some point in one of my previous playthroughs, I chose Yennefer, so I have chosen her, and I. Is there a teleport somewhere? And so I've heard her letter. I've heard her narrating the letter, but I don't remember the context. That's the problem. I'm not sure whether she's reading the same thing or it's somehow it's somehow different. I can't even tell. In any case, even though some phrases might be different, the idea is still the same. Find some professor, find some info about those mutations. Might be useful for you. It feels weird just running, you know. Let's try it. I feel like it breaks immersion when you just run. Feels kind of weird. Mirror la chaiselongue. The literal translation is mother the long chair?
Regis. Couldn't have picked some other place to meet.
Mother the long chair?
Regis! Damn it. Locked. No way I got the place wrong. This is it. Gotta be. Gotta be another way in around here. Come on!
There's he... Oh, it's there though. First hit means a critical strike. One-shot kill. Not a simple critical strike, but a very specific one.
Viking Wars. Got victuals aplenty around here.
That was awful. What are those sounds?
Someone placed an illusion here. Interesting.
No, it's south. Tucson Ducal Guard Officer's trousers. a lot of loot, but I could have probably taken if I wasn't at my limit, because apparently dismantling might be useful for resources, but well, what can I say?
Agreed to meet a vampire at a cemetery. How much more cliché can you get?
Nothing comes readily to mind.
Could have left the door unlatched.
What of my privacy? I value it rather deeply. Unmolested, especially by unwanted guests, that's my preferred state. Besides, I knew you'd find a way to get in.
True enough. Need to find your friend. I'm hoping you'll agree to help.
I shall do whatever's in my power. Yet what you want or even need must matter little. What matters is what Dettlaff wants. If he does not wish to be found, you will not find him. Ever. End of story.
Come on. Gotta be some way.
Vampires can evade detection by the senses, and no divination magic works on us. Even the most precise megascope would be useless.
And this? Could this help?
Wherever did you get that?
Off one of the beast's victims, found by a bend in the river. Body was chopped in pieces. 3 of those pieces were hands. Hand with the ring seemed the odd one out. Abruxa had taken an interest in it.
It's Dettlaff's hand, without a doubt. It will do splendidly.
The hand. What do you plan to do with it?
You've heard of Kovinaris' theory of tissue memory retention.
Rings a distant bell. Read about it in Alchemia Oblitera. There's a copy at Kaer Morhen, tattered, nearly disintegrated. But if memory serves, Kovinaris never managed to prove it worked.
He did prove it, just never managed to publish his findings. He and I corresponded, you see, after we became friends. Thus, I know he completed his research and performed the first tests. It's complicated, so without delving into details, it is possible to use any piece of tissue to reconstruct what a whole body experienced.
How's it work? We need any special equipment?
We must brew a decoction which Kovinaris gave a rather poetic name, resonance. Once imbibed, it sends one into a trance similar to that induced by narcotics. This triggers visions of events linked to strong emotions experienced by the tissue's owner. Picture it as dreaming a fragment of someone's life.
Any chance we might see what Dettlaff was doing just before he lost his hand?
Indeed. Though I also hope resonance will reveal the location of Dettlaff's hideout.
Ring's pretty intriguing. Made of no metal I've ever seen. And the ornamentation.
It comes from our home, where we lived before the conjunction of spheres. It's actually mine. I received it from a dear old friend. You might call him a humanist. He saw us vampires as guests here, guests who owe their hosts, meaning you humans and the elder races, respect.
Respect? Meaning not to treat us like cattle to be slaughtered for food?
Precisely. And the reason why I, in turn, gave it to Dettlaff. To remind him of the ideals my old friend championed.
Can't you just summon Dettlaff? You're both hired vampires, there's gotta be a way.
If I'm to be entirely candid, there is indeed one. But believe me, we will be better off never availing ourselves of it. It is a last resort. Absolutely.
Last resort? The hell? Why?
There is a being who can summon Dettlaff. Possesses the authority, even the power, to force him to appear in a given place. But the very act of contacting this being, well, it's akin to walking a slack line extended over a chasm filled with molten lava. An exercise as perilous to me as it would be to you. A risk I'm unwilling to take. I beg you, let's do it my way. It will be both quicker and easier.
Kovinaris spent half his life proving his theory. Wild guess. Making a dose of resonance won't be easy.
You guessed correctly. In addition to Detlef's tissue, we shall need a powerful occipital lobe stimulant. Effectively a poison, to make one susceptible to visions.
Well, got a few ingredients to choose from. Unfortunately, all are pretty rare. There's Mamoon glands, but closest ones I know of are in Vizima. A spotted white saliva would also serve, but they were culled to extinction over a century ago. Could go with a kobold's eyes, but the creatures are sentient. Rather not gouge one's eyes out.
Given that we lack the time to sleuth this out ourselves, permit me to summon some help.
What was that?
A raven? Rather a common sight at this latitude. Very intelligent fowl. I asked him to look for the creatures you mentioned. Him and his brethren. Perhaps they'll find one in the area, and I would hazard that a flock of ravens will spy any said creature faster than a solitary witcher would. With all due respect to your skills, my friend. It will take them some time, nonetheless, so perhaps you'd care for a snitter of mandrake.
Whatever. Let's drink.
Barely say no to a snifter.
Sadly, this is but a weak infusion rather than a proper distillate.
Even better. I remember your mandrake hooch. Made people say things they'd have rather kept to themselves.
Now, what could Geralt of Rivia prefer to keep to himself?
Everyone's got some secret.
I agree wholeheartedly. I also believe it wise at times to share one's secrets, unburden oneself to those one can trust.
This your sophisticated way of asking me if I trust you?
I prefer almost always to ask indirectly. It seems a test of intelligence, one you just passed.
Maybe you should go first. Reveal one of your secrets. After all, you vampires lead very interesting lives.
Anything in particular interest you?
Got a new life, a new body. That give you a new start? Blank slate?
Starting all anew is a very broad concept. What exactly do you mean?
Your blood addiction, say. Wondering if your body's the same, if it still remembers. Maybe if you drank now, you wouldn't get hooked.
All addictions are a form of slavery. Re-addiction's not a risk I'm willing to take, just to test a hypothesis about corporeal regeneration and whether propensities carry over.
Fair enough. Curiosity, that's all. Sorry.
Not to worry, Geralt. Curiosity is a natural reaction under the circumstances, apart from which I've always valued that trait in you.
Always fascinated me the way vampires can regenerate. A hand growing back is one thing, but Detloff recreating you out of a wet smear? Something else entirely.
A difficult and laborious process, but one that's possible, as my presence proves. But I've heard you too had quite the adventure. They say you lost your memory.
For a bit, but Triss helped me get it back. Actually, pretty damn lucky I only had amnesia.
Yes, you humans are rather buggered in those terms. To strip you of life is, well, it's just plain easy. I've always pitied you in that regard. We vampires are much harder nuts to crack. If a member of another race kills one of us, we can be reborn with a living higher vampire's help. However, if one of our own strikes the deadly blow, death is permanent. There can be no rebirth. One of the chief reasons why vampires long ago swore never to fight one another.
I needed some sugar in my tea, but it's still kinda acid. The lemon destroyed my teeth. Well, that's fine. It's acceptable.
All right, give you one question. What do you want to know?
One question to ask one as fascinating as you, Geralt. Cruel parsimony, I'd say, but I shall do my best to make it count. If you were to die and be reborn as I was, in your new life, would you choose to be a Witcher?
It's a very philosophical question, but it's not up to me to answer this question, so it's kind of hard to say. I remember Lambert complaining about it, though he still said that he likes being a Witcher, so they kind of like it, but at the same time, it's just the way they got into Witcher craft that disturbs them. I don't know, let's choose something. I mean, I guess I didn't have a choice.
See, Regis. Doubt I'd know how to be anything else.
Ever tried?
See, you're determined to get an answer, to find out if I like being a Witcher. Just refuse to ask directly, as always. I like being on the path. I like picking up a lead, a trail. I like the tension right before a fight. And nothing gets my adrenaline flowing like battling a beast. Even gotten used to people treating me like a freak, an outcast. Yeah, not something I think about much, but I like being a Witcher.
Thank you for being honest. Honesty is an attribute of the truly brave, and thus a privilege of the very few.
Still no sign of your winged friend. Sure it understood what you wanted?
Dead certain. Let's wait a bit longer. It'll return soon, don't doubt that for a moment. Ever vigilant, even in his sleep. Quite vampire-like, in fact. Are you absolutely certain they don't administer a few of our genes during the trial of the grasses?
Far as I know, none. Now what you got for me?
You were right. No kobolds or mamoons for miles around.
Knew it.
Allow me to finish. You see, there's this spotted white. It haunts an abandoned residence in the Cara-Berta woods.
Impossible. My brethren hunted down every last spotted white before I was born.
Then it seems you must revise your knowledge of spotted whites. For somehow this one managed to survive your brethren's onslaught. It seems I know this home it haunts. Recall a tale about it. Locals believe the place cursed. Perhaps that's how the white survived entirely unmolested.
Know anything else about this curse?
I don't recall much in particular. Really don't attach much importance to such things. It was mentioned to me as an anecdote, no more.
Come on, search your memory. Something, anything could be important.
I believe it had a relation to hunger, or, perhaps greed, rapacity. Someone was punished for something...
Textbook definition of a curse, pretty much.
Sorry, Geralt, I try not to clutter my mind with the details of every far-fetched tale I happen to hear. What are your thoughts?
A specimen of a species thought long extinct, and a curse in one place. That a coincidence, or are they related?
Ah, professional curiosity. Personally, I've nothing against you delving into this dilemma, but please remember we need the white's saliva. Nothing beyond that.
Whites rarely appear in the woods, even less likely to find them in abandoned human homes. They inhabit remote wildernesses, old abandoned cemeteries.
What's your point?
This might not be a spotted white after all. Your little helper might have made a mistake.
I sincerely doubt it. Ravens are devilishly intelligent creatures, and they've highly developed observational skills.
What exactly did they observe?
The area around the estate, it's covered in spoons.
Spoons?
Spare me the skeptical smile. I'm but the bearer of this news. Or perhaps this spotted white is a hoarder. Or the spoons are somehow related to the curse.
Important piece of info.
Let's do this. Start making your decoction while I go get some saliva from that white. Uses it in its brews.
Do you imagine the white will simply sell you some?
Worst case scenario, I'll bring you its salivary glands. They ought to do as well.
For a moment there, I imagined you asking the white to spit into a vial. Quite amusing as a thought, but the salivary glands will do fine indeed.
So, see you later.
Yes, till later. I shall start by perusing some tomes.
Tomes? Thought you were gonna make this decoction.
We require one last ingredient. Alas, obtaining it could prove a trifle toilsome. Thus, I hope to identify a suitable alternative.
All right. Good luck.
And to you, my friend.
Bastard. To learn more about spotted whites. La cage aux fruits. Let's go. Let's read and then I'll continue with this, getting rid of these yellow stars. Spotted whites. The best defense against spotted whites, stay calm and leave them alone. Fragment of a treatise on spotted whites by Roderick Gilligan. I'm sorry. Spotted whites might be a subspecies of white which the Witchers drove to extinction. They were larger than their unspotted kin and owed their names to their numerous blotches and effusions. Spotted whites would most often dwell in derelict cemeteries and empty wildernesses, yet at times took to living in abandoned human domicile. There they would indulge in their greatest passion, creating brews from their own emissions. When not disturbed, spotted whites would not act aggressively. If threatened, however, they became very dangerous indeed. In the colder months, or when faced with an unseasonable chill, they would slip into a state of lethargy, making them easy targets, even during their active periods. It is said the Witchers found a surefire way of besting them, based around careful casting of the Yrden sign, or at least so claims Witcher lore. Section. I don't want this to be a joke, but because it's kind of cringy. I wish I never knew that. I wish I never saw that on YouTube. I just saw some video that certain girls who are selling certain things on internet plan to make some beverages with let's call it their own emissions. I think it was the video of Most Critical. His YouTube channel name is Penguinzo, whatever. And he made a video about it. Oh boy, that's gross. Well, maybe there are spotted whites? They're doing the same thing? It's kinda gross, man. Whatever. Never mind. That was a absolutely useless piece of info. It just, I beg your pardon for being gross. Well, look at the White Slayer. Let's find the creature. Why? Oh, okay. Sometimes it bugs. I didn't press the right mouse button, but for some reason I was in the Witcher senses mode, kind of. So this is the, as I said in the previous part, this is the quest that I was looking for. The quest for the victim of Gontor Odim. And I found it. I discovered
What's
it.
that about?
And this is a very interesting quest, but you'll see that.
The dressings, bandages, where did I put them?
Forget it. Bandages won't do him any good.
What? Oh, but he breathed still a moment ago.
Breathed his last then. Bled to death. Legs broken. Femoral arteries ruptured. Wound like that, you're dead in minutes.
Gods.
What happened here exactly?
I was rolling through, fully loaded, when I heard screams. This one crawled towards the road, then drooped to the ground, lost consciousness. I jumped down to help him, dress his wounds. Then you appeared.
Stand and step away from him.
What? Me? But what is your grief?
Don't make me say it again. That's good advice.
Will you tell me what it is you seek?
Needed to see if you were lying. You'd be covered in blood if you dealt those wounds. Just cut it on your hands, though, so all's in order.
Who might you be, precisely?
A Witcher.
Oh. Do you expect some beast might have killed him?
See what we have here. Legs broken, but cause of death's the wound. Small but deep, edges unfrayed. Either a thrust weapon or a thick claw. Maybe a wyvern's. Tough to say, and... breastplate's unusual. Dented. And it's got a patina.
An antiquity, I believe. I deal in these things, so... what's puzzling is... why did he done it?
Not likely to learn that from him. Now to figure out where he came from. From that house, I'm assuming, but need to investigate. Got some work to do. So long.
I didn't plan to do this quest.
Wait,
but,
I will come with you.
So be it. But stay close, keep it down, and don't touch a thing.
Extreme cosplay?
Trail leads to the house on the hill.
Which stands silent as a grave.
I didn't plan to do this quest, but I ended up doing it.
Must have been here he broke his legs. Fell while climbing over the wall. Trying to leave the property probably, after he didn't manage to open the gate. Burned alive. Really high-temperatured work here.
Lepiota, thou art my defender and protector. Thou bringest good news.
Damn it.
Good gods!
Servant. Stabbed to death. Over a dozen blows with a sharp object. Some post-mortem.
I cannot believe this is the work of a man. It was a monster, to be sure.
What the hell's this? Setting for a banquet?
It seems so. What's your suspicion? Did none survive? Gods!
Silver tableware. Elven engravings. Torso punctured with great force. Blow pierced hardened steel. Man on the high road. Breastplate was identical. Throats massacred. One mighty blow. Shield along sides old and dented. Sword ceremonial. And Shay handiwork clearly. Ceremonial bowls. For little sacrifices?
Of what? Please, do not say humans.
Burn marks. Something catch fire. Explode. Strong stench. Multiple wounds on the body. All puncture wounds, but hard to tell what caused them. Victim's human, but the attire's elven.
Are you certain? How did he come by it? We've so few non-humans in Tucson.
Fled, then dropped to the ground to douse the flames. Didn't manage. Burnt smells growing fainter. Might have been another luckier soul managed to flee. Doublet scorched. Wriggled out of it, tossed it, then ran on.
Perhaps there's no one inside after.
I know you're in there. Breathing's loud and clear. Open up. We mean you no harm.
They remain there?
Listen, I'm a witcher. I'm here to help you. But if that's gonna happen, you gotta answer some questions first. Who are you exactly?
Durant Faucher Plamondon de Safaran, Lord of these lands, and Chairman of the Society of Friends of the History of Tucson. We meet here annually to mark the anniversary of the Elfin Homage. But something like this, why, it's a first.
You mentioned them. Who do you mean?
Those, I don't know what they were, spirits. It all occurred of a sudden. We were staging a scene, the event, paying homage. There was a flash of light that blinded me completely. I heard cries, though saw nothing, and then felt my own robes were in flames. I broke and ran, threw off my doublet, leapt in here, and it shut and locked the door behind me. They pounded on the door. I thought they would get through. I thought I was done for, but in the end, it grew calm.
So while reenacting a scene from the past, somehow, unintentionally, you summoned a specter, a Korgorath, or a tube, maybe.
What? What now?
Best thing? You gotta do it again, of course.
Are you mad? Would you have this thing kill us?
No, don't want it to kill anyone. Precisely why I gotta do my job. Summon it again, whatever it is, and tend to it once and for all. Durand, think I can reenact the pledge, the giving of homage, alone?
It was a great, momentous event. The surrender of Tucson's last elfin king. You will need at least 3 individuals.
You know what I'm gonna ask for. Need your help, but I'll understand if you turn me down. No objections? Good. Let's get to work. Start by clearing the corpses. Got some time. Won't start the reenactment before nightfall. Things of this sort are a lot more likely to work after dusk. One last thing, though. My pay. Don't work for free, you know.
Understood. Just keep the danger at bay, and I shall be generous. Through and through.
It's pretty straightforward. My pay. I need money.
I will stand, or rather, sit in for King Ludovic upon the elfin throne, while you, Witcher, will play the Enshe ruler. We must don the costumes. All must be just right.
Divethaf, the Elven King, hosted Ludovic in his own palace upon his own throne, amidst the blinding glow of a plethora of torches. Laid at Ludovic's feet a loaf of binnen and elfin bread, thus granting humans rule over seed-yielding lands. Divethaf filled the ornate ceremonial bowls with elfin wine. Gwynnoeth, the sweetest blood of the land that had been torn from him. Long last, the Elfin King grasped his sword and shield, thus symbolically passing command of his armies to humans.
Looks pretty interesting.
The Elfin King, erect in his pride, drew his blade and dropped to his knees, thus acknowledging his Ludovic, then spake.
I accept your allegiance and shall return in 1 year's time to...
Ah! Look! The statues!
Impossible! God's mother!
Nice damage.
The sculptures, they came alive. By what witchcraft?
Dunno. Specialize in killing monsters. Reviving them, not so much.
I may know what happened. The statues, you see, once stood in the palace of one Tefethov. I acquired them a month past because perhaps I should start at the beginning. This Tefethov was to pay tribute to humans, producing statues of this sort each year. Yet he did so but once, for he perished in the massacre of non-humans at the foot of Mount Gorgon in the year 782. It's fortunate he did too, as Tefethov had planned Ludovic's downfall. For he sculpted not statues, but columns that masqueraded as such. Columns activated with words said in homage. Columns that would have turned the king and his bodyguards into so much colorful confetti.
Typical treachery embodied. Elves. Pshh.
You're no better. Elves were just defending their territory. You humans took it, but you still weren't sated. Had to cut the elves down, every last one.
You? What does that mean? You're a man as we are.
Yeah, in a way. Just ashamed to have to admit it sometimes.
Your words? They're wrong, Witcher. But I'll not let you leave empty-handed. Take this as your reward.
Farewell.
Everything is broken. You're wrong. Why am I wrong? Didn't you kill elves? Then is you cannot dismantle everything. You need to sell something. You need money. You need money for a lot of things. You need money. A lot of money. So I don't know. I need to think. There was a decoction for such situations, and the name of it is this is the one, Finn's decoction. Though it only gives you 20 maximum inventory, but wait, 20? What were you thinking when you added this decoction? Why 20? I wanted to go there, but I can't go there. I need to find a blacksmith. Everything is broken. Or almost everything.
Let's go!
I need to repair stuff. Well, I have some repair kits in my inventory, but I see no sense to use them just right now. Apparently, I need to. Everything is broken at this point, so it's probably not the best idea. Is there even a blacksmith here? There's an armor.
Mine show.
What can I sell? Necker hide boots. 37. Wow. Oh, this one is better. Executioner's boots. Heavy armor. Kinda useless. No, I should probably dismantle them. I should not sell them. I should sell only orange things. 1K? Oh. Tyrael armor. But it's for level... not only it's heavy armor, but it's for level 28. I'm level 41. I'm not gonna use it. It costs a lot to dismantle it. It's kinda interesting. You see, this is why I need money. I need to sell all of that. I can't dismantle it. Just sell everything.
Gwent, interested in a round or two?
They actually, you see, in the Blood and Wine DLC, they improved
latest range.
They improved the amount of money that you can bet. It was limited to 10 in the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, but here you can bet up to 50 gold. I'm actually asking myself whether it's a good thing that they changed music or not. Don't get me wrong, I like this music, and it's kind of refreshing, but at the same time, that Gwent music that was used in the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, kind of get used to it, and we're kind of used that no matter where we play Skellig. There were some exceptions, but on average it was always the same music, and so you were kind of used to it. And now you got a different music, and it's not like they added these tracks to that track. They completely replaced it, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's a good thing, but at the same time it's a bad thing, I feel like. got a lot of commander horns. Well, as far as I know, Northern Realms don't have much melee cards. Or many, I don't know whether we can count them or not. That's the question. There may be 20 cards, so probably many, though. Will you count them one by one? See what you're doing there. It's funny, I got a lot of reviving cards, but I got no one to revive. Even if I revive Cow, I won't have any bonuses. It'll only be available on the next round. See what you're doing. I knew he got a weather card, but he didn't use it in the previous round. Wow. Not sure why cards are double. It feels like a bug. They shouldn't be doubled, I don't have Dandelion. You see, they're doubling. They shouldn't be double. Shield Maiden. You got a lot of swords, but oh, it's almost the same. Yeah, but 100%, 100 plus 150 armor piercing on a silver sword is kind of useless. I watched some video, I don't remember which one, but a guy in the YouTube comment section, he wrote something like, it was a joke, but basically I guess that's it in certain situations. How do you like that Silver said Geralt addressing to humans? And you know, I don't remember what the video was about, but it was something related to silver and swords and steel swords, you see. And you know, it's funny because that's how it feels sometimes. You see, why do you have armor piercing on silver swords? You're not using them for humans.
Your head from my saddle.
I've lost him, my dearest. Someone has stolen him, my darling, my treasure, my spoon. That creature from the Caroberta woods must have been it. All the help says the town's abuzz with talk about missing spoons. For much time now, indeed. Since this creature has stolen Cutterly from old Beauclair and has not yet been caught by our valiant guard, it means it must be clever, tricky even, and anyone clever can be swayed by arguments, especially financial ones. So I asked my jeweler, Mathenberg, to take me a spoon out of pure gold, which I shall take to the Caroberta woods to find that monster and propose a trade. A spoon of gold for my most precious spoon. The more we approach the place, the more there
Come
are,
on
you see,
now.
random hints about this creature.
Artists. Never a good omen.
They look like hellhounds a little bit. It died? A decoction or something? I should probably visit some herbalists. To buy some. To buy some herbs.
Strange. Get a sense that the spoons are beating out some kind of rhythm. A message. Trying to tell me something.
don't hear anything. Any melody or something.
None shall sit and dine with you at your table. No spoon you have shall sate you. Never again shall you wish to spy your reflection in the mirror. Sounds like a curse, all right. Somebody's clearly obsessed. Regis mentioned the place might be cursed. Can't be a coincidence. Need to look around.
It's funny because this kind of curses, that's what we hear. I mean, we don't really hear it much, but if you watch some...
Die. Need to search it thoroughly. Find a way to collect some white saliva.
If you watched Supernatural, I think there was something related to that when people were saying that with words like, because you kind of offended me or you didn't give me something, then you shall be cursed, and that's what's gonna happen. And then they say something. You see, that's basically how it sounds. And that's what people believed in the past. You see, that words have a strong impact. There is some kind of a they have some kind of a power. So by saying this kind of things, it might affect the person. You see, and some people believed it. You see. So it was not only one person who was saying, who was believing it, but it's also the person who was kind of receiving it, who believed in that.
White's obsessed. A real collector. Thoroughbred. Spoon. Pretty ordinary. Maybe a little old. Spoon's incredible. The craftsmanship. Must have graced a rich man's table.
Diary. Oh, that's interesting. For a few days now, I've been having dizzy spells. I've never experienced anything like this before. If it carries on, although I can't stand witchcraft and sorcery, I'll have to visit a herbalist. The dizziness has not gone away. Worst of all, it's been joined by pain so strong that at times I cannot see. I've been to herbalist. A repulsive old crone looked at me like she had seen a monster. She gave me some cursed mixture that I have to drink twice a day. It's not helping at all. Today, like every day, I looked in the mirror and I was lost for words. I usually check that I don't have any wrinkles or bags under my eyes, but today there are no wrinkles. But I'd rather that there were. I have hair growing on my breasts. It's horrible. It's got to be because of those damn herbs. I went to the herbalist to smash her face in, but her chambers were empty. She must have known what would happen to me and liked it. My family is starting to suspect something, although I'm cutting the hair back, which is growing back faster and faster. I've tried to put the idea out of my head, but I can't hold it back any longer. Maybe it wasn't the herbs that have led to this, but a curse placed upon me by an old beggar whom I had to chase off one time. I have to find out. I want to hire someone who can find the herbalist. I cannot think, and it is getting hard to write. Loneliness. No family. Eat. I want to eat. Not a good spoon. Empty spoons. Nothing. Eat. It hurts. Mirror. Lies. No. Ah. What?
Poor girl. Realized she was changing into a monster. Recorded it in her diary. Poignant. Smashed mirror. As if someone couldn't stand to look at themselves. The monster. Journal's author, maybe?
spoons and mugs.
No spoon you have shall sate you. Whatever lives here treated that literally. Still searching for the right spoon. Another spoon. Yep, just as normal as the last one. A silent key. Sophisticated crafting. Tag bears a description. White's a true collector.
Okay. This certifies the item up for auction, an antique spoon key forged at the Christopherson and Sons workshop in, let's say, the long way, 1210. Belongs to Smiggle Circus, owner of the Pheasantry. Level 42. Okay, I'm level 31. 41, I'm sorry, I forgot. I thought I'm level 20 or something. For 1 second I forgot about it. It happens.
White's obsessed. Real collector. Thoroughbred.
It's funny because the if you think about the what was the moment when we saw a spoon, actually. We basically haven't seen anything related to spoons, if I remember correctly, in the Witcher game. Except for that moment when a certain merchant of mirrors, what was his exact title? It's not a merchant of mirrors, it's master mirror or a merchant something. When he took a spoon and punished an old guy for interrupting him.
Spoon. Pretty ordinary. Maybe a little old. Skeletons. Doubt they came here willingly. This have anything to do with the curse? None shall sit and dine with you at your table. It'd make sense. Right arm bit right off. Teeth all knocked out. Somebody tried to force feed him. Broken neck. Indentation in the skull's lateral surface. Smacked in the head with something heavy. No claw or fang marks. Probably choked to death. Woman's name scratched into this wooden spoon.
Dear Master Levasseur, I know you track outlaws for pay. I have an unusual assignment for you. No doubt you wonder why I have drawn you out here, why we cannot meet in person. You see, in my present situation, any kind of meeting is very risky, not so much for me as for the person with whom I meet, for I am afflicted by a curse, or, as I hope and why I have turned to you, the side effects of medicine given to me some time ago by a herbalist. Soon after I visited this herbalist, she disappeared without trace. I desperately wished to understand my illness, so I wish to hire you to find her. When you do, learn as much from her as you can about the medicine she gave me. If my suffering is a result of her wickedness, then make her provide an antidote. I assure you, I have ample wealth, and I will reward you with no small part of it for your services. If it turns out my suffering is not the fault of the herbalist, please let her go. I will then have a different task for you, because this shall mean I am afflicted by a terrible curse which only the gods can cure. I believe it was cast upon me by a certain beggar who came by the manor while I was hosting a soiree for a few friends. If you can find that vagrant, I will pay you double. Sadly, all I remember of him is that he sold mirrors. I am aware that it is not much aid for you for your hunt, yet I trust in your considerable talents and wish you the best of luck. Marlene de Trastamara. Certain merchant of mirrors. Wow. A very interesting situation, right? We'll discover a little bit more about it, but still. I'm actually curious what you think about this situation and the curse. We know that Gontaradim is cruel and stuff, but is it fair? What he did to her? Where's the here it is. Why?
Actually does seem like a White's lair. Bit atypical, but still. Cauldron should be somewhere around here. Cauldron I was looking for. White's not particularly tidy. Another spoon. Yep, just as normal as the last one. White's obsessed. A real collector. Thoroughbred. Spoon. Pretty ordinary. Maybe a little old.
Words of wisdom and beastly curses. This creature really collects everything, not only spoons, but tries to understand what is the reason. Monstrous curses and their description. Introduction. Curses that change a fellow into a monstrous creature have existed since the dawn of time. They have a variety of origins and a variety of effects. It normally happens that a mage or sorceress casts a curse and that spell changes the subject. It doesn't always happen straight away. Sometimes the person who has been cursed changes slowly, bit by bit. It also happens that a normal fellow can cast a curse, someone whose conscience is clear and who has done good in their life. Such a person can acquire power, and thus the aggrieved can place a curse on the evildoer. Such curses are strong and cannot be removed easily. Thus everything by which human suffering is atoned is long-lasting and painful.
Another spoon. Yep, just as normal as the last one. Thousands of them here. White's been a collector for years.
Where's the door? It's locked.
White's obsessed. A real collector. Thoroughbred.
Locked key required, but I didn't have a key. Because that knows anything here.
Spoon. Pretty ordinary. Maybe a little old. Table set. White who lives here is getting ready for some sort of feast. White that lives here, definitely afflicted by a curse, and it's been trying desperately to lift it. Another spoon. Yep, just as normal as the last one. Cauldron's empty, unfortunately. Regis needs some brew. Afraid he won't get that. No choice but to hide and wait for the saliva glands and their bearer. Need a spot that'll let me observe the cauldron. not gonna hurt you. Wanna help? I've seen the words of the curse on the walls. Think I know how to lift it. You tried to bring folk here, convince them to sit at the table with you, right? Well, I'm gonna be your guest now. Your willing guest. Just need a bit for Regis. And now we'll tend to you. Need to get this right. Words of the curse were, none shall sit and dine with you at your table. No spoon you have shall sate you. Never again shall you wish to spy your reflection in the mirror. We can't use spoons. No, that won't work. You've been looking for a spoon that would feed you, but there's no such spoon. We need to eat without spoons.
Oh. Gross.
Open your eyes. You need to see your likeness.
It was so awful that Geralt got like he brewed
It worked.
3 decoctions.
Not quite like I expected. Need to see what happened to the white. Won't be hard to find given its stench.
It was so toxic. Man, that's crazy. I can't even imagine what she was cooking there. But seeing Geralt getting all red and black. I suppose that was absolutely awful. Below, wrong direction. Or no, wait, not wrong. Follow the stench. It's here, somewhere. They look like hellhounds, and I suppose that's what they are, right? Actually, to deal with this yellow stars. I found them. Bar guests. Shansin renounced foul deeds, and if evil threatens to overwhelm your will, ponder the fate of the outskirts of Vizima. Remember the hideous bar guests which scourged them and repent. Folk of simple or superstitious minds claim committing particularly rotten acts will bring down the wrath of of the gods in the form of Vargas, phantom dogs which stalk the roads at night. Even if this were their origin, Vargas saints and sinners alike would need fear Vargas. Vargas saints and sinners? Okay. For they attack both with equal ferocity. Witchers rarely believe in the gods, but they do accept that Vargas exists and are always connected with some sequence of tragic events that happened in the past. Their explanation, however, holds that Vargas result from a curse or a concentration of ill will.
Easy, not gonna hurt you.
Eat. I must eat.
I'll take you someplace safe. So I took her by the hand and led her here. Seemed the only sensible place for her.
You did the right thing, sir. She should recover quickly here. I'm deeply pleased, finally, to make your acquaintance, sir, though I do regret the specific circumstances. In all the commotion, I fear I neglected to introduce myself. I'm Barnabas Basilfolti, and by order of the Duchess, I am to serve as your major domo at Corvo Bianco.
Nice to meet you, Barnabas Basil. Love to talk more, but got urgent matters to attend to. While I'm gone, please make sure she gets everything she needs.
Don't worry, sir. I shall see to everything. She is safe here and in good hands. She'll soon be back on her feet.
Might actually take a while. She hadn't eaten anything in over 100 years when I found her.
Horrid. Whatever brought this about?
Told me her story on the way here. Her name's Marlena. She was once the very beautiful and proud heiress to the Trastamara estate. One evening, when she was holding a banquet for friends, a beggar came to her gate seeking alms. He had a bowl and a spoon with him. He sat outside her fence and waited.
I've heard of the custom. An ancient rite of hospitality that obliges one to give food and drink to such a guest lest he depart hungry. To neglect the custom is to bring great misfortune down upon oneself.
Marlena didn't care a whit for the old customs. She drove the man off, saying she'd rather feed the leftovers from her feast to her dogs than to give the beggar anything. The beggar then broke his spoon, cast a curse. She was beautiful, so he said she'd never wish to look at herself in the mirror again. Since she adored feasts, he swore no one would ever wish to sit and dine with her. And as she even refused him the crumbs from her table, he swore she'd never find a spoon in the world that would sate her hunger.
A harsh punishment. I imagine lifting the curse was hardly simple.
Curses are tricky. They play on irony. Always gotta figure out what the catch is. Marlena had spent decades looking for a way to lift it. Transformed into a wight, she stole spoons and lured folk into her home, trying each time to get them to dine with her. Didn't work.
So what did?
Someone had to sit down and share a meal with her, of their own free will. They had to eat without using spoons, and make her look at her reflection.
That's it? That was all it required?
Simplest solutions are sometimes the last that come to mind. Besides, when you're a wight, it's pretty damn hard to find willing human company for a feast.
I imagine so. But, most importantly, it is now over. Please, don't worry. She will be in good hands here.
Vineyard comes across as a place with a rich history. Know who owned it before me?
Baron Rossel, who went bankrupt, forcing him to sell the estate to the Duchess. The Baron, in turn, had purchased it from Monsieur Bolius of the Headsman, a truly colorful man of Kedweni origin.
He was actually a headsman?
No, not him, but his great-great-great-great-grandfather. Indeed. Apparently, he was a common cutpurse who somehow secured for himself the post of ducal headsman in Beauclair. Went about his work with an exceptional penchant. They say he chopped off more heads than there are grapevines in the ducal vineyards. He never hesitated, not once. Never sliced unevenly, never botched a job. For his exemplary service, the Duke granted him a title and this estate. Monsieur Beaulius, on the other hand, was an engineer in his younger years. Once retired, he settled here and took to producing wine. Sadly, misfortune struck and he lost his sense first of smell, then of taste. Additionally, he could not drink alcohol. His medic forbade it.
Shame that. He gave up making wine?
Not at all. He made even more of it. Began throwing wild balls to which he'd invite friends from far and wide in order to treat them to his wine and delight in the fact that at least someone could enjoy it. It's the sort of man he was, Monsieur Beaulius.
Mind giving me a little tour de Corvo Bianco?
Not in the least. Follow me, please. I think it would be practical to begin on the hill.
Well, I was about to say that it's kind of weird that we just, we sent her to Corvo
Behold,
Bianco,
sir,
but we
your
never came
estate
here. But
in all its splendor.
Pretty vast.
Indeed. And now, sir, allow me to show you a handful of interesting details. Follow me, please.
Been a major domo all your life?
Yes, I come from a long line of major domos. My father was a major domo, as was my grandfather before him, as was my great aunt. In fact, she was the one to start the tradition.
Great aunt?
A hard woman. It is said that already as a child, she knew where she was going and went there. When she arrived in Beauclair, she signed on as a chambermaid at one of the vineyards, then slowly worked her way up to major domo. She dragged the rest of the family up the same path. The servants' quarters. I occupy the green home. With the Duchess's permission, I have hired a full staff. Their salaries to be paid from the ducal treasury.
Nice of her.
Not the most sightly part of the estate, I admit. But I think it worthwhile for you as master of the domain to know where the help stays. Baron Rossel ordered the vines in this part of the estate uprooted and olive groves planted in their place. They look beautiful, especially come spring.
Don't look at all bad now, either.
Down below lies your vineyard, where we grow a strain of Carfanere, one of the world's oldest. Aged in oak barrels, it provides for an exquisite wine with distinct blackberry, wild cherry, plum, and cinnamon notes. Marvelous.
Have to try it one of these days.
I prefer grape juice. I'm not into wine.
Nice well. Picturesque.
Yes, though it ran dry long ago. During the raucous feasts Master Beaulius held, he would order it filled with wine. There's a tale about a guest attending a Beaulius ball for the first time and thus unaware of the custom. He had suffered great heartbreak and had decided to end his life by jumping into the well. The festivities were coming to a close, and the well was nearly empty when the suicidal guest finally jumped. Instead of killing himself, he merely broke his legs. To numb the pain, he drank the wine.
Drank himself to death?
Not at all. When found the next day, he had concluded he'd witnessed twin miracles. The water had been changed into wine, and he had survived. He retired to a monastery in the Dragon Mountains and began preaching the wisdoms of Lebioda. Monsieur Boleus's wife Nina kept a garden here. A supremely lovely place it was.
Bit neglected now.
I agree. Yet nothing stands in the way of restoring it to its former glory, and once again planting it with herbs and other vegetation. Madame Nina planted diminutive, delicate flowers and herbs here. One might say their aroma still hangs in the air.
You're quite the romantic, Barnabas Basil.
This served as an additional wine cellar in years of plentiful harvests.
Bit of work, and it'll make a fine stable for Roach.
The cellars, voila. During Monsieur Boleus's time, wine was kept here, but Baron Rossel used it to store olive oil as well. I took the liberty of cleaning up the mess, which...
I made while fighting the Bruxa. Thanks, Barnabas Basil. Appreciate it.
As you can see, the facade is, how to put it, slightly stained. But one cannot deny it a certain subtle southern charm.
True, though it could use a bit of subtle paint.
And welcome inside. On the left is the master bedroom. On the right, the dining hall and kitchen. Upstairs, you shall find the guest room, currently used for storage.
Not a bad idea.
At the moment, the house is only minimally furnished. Yet I believe we will, together, devise some innovative arrangements. A few paintings, for instance, would breathe new life into the abode immediately. With that, sir, you've seen the full lay of the land. Corvo Bianco is a beautiful estate. Though one must admit, time has taken its toll. Forgive me for being forward, but if you were to choose to invest a small sum towards its beautification, consider me at your service on the matter.
Think I'll take you up on that. Be sure to come and see you if I decide to do any remodeling. Mentioned the place could stand to be spruced up.
Oh, most decidedly, sir. The question is where you would like to begin this rejuvenation.
Been thinking about the outer walls. Maybe a fresh coat of paint or some patching.
If I might dare to make a suggestion, why not start with a general renovation? I once oversaw such work at Admiral Rompelli's summer residence. The effects were simply breathtaking. Not only did the residence positively sparkle afterwards, but we also made room to display the Admiral's armor and weapons, of which he was a passionate collector.
It's in your hands then. Make the place shine.
I shall get to work immediately. Within a day's passing, I shall have sent for the crew which rebuffed the Admiral's residence. They are the finest specialists around. Highly skilled at what they do, it shall not take them too long, I wager. 2 days after they begin, your eyes will behold your residence in its refurbished, rejuvenated, beautified state. Is there anything else you require, sir?
Know what? Changed my mind. Not in the mood to talk about redecoration today. But I wanted to ask you something else.
I shall be glad to answer your every question, sir.
Thanks. Gotta get back to my business now. See you soon.
I wasn't able to invest in those armor holders and stuff, but I can probably leave them in this chest. Oh, I see. White Tiger of the Western Arm, this one. I sold my gauntlets thinking that I sold everything else, but I actually didn't sell it. I just placed it in this chest and I completely forgot about it. Wow. What can I say? It's complicated. Where's the Winter Blade? Winter's Blade. Ornate Robe, Fury Sharavari, and Ornate Boots. I didn't have any gauntlets if I remember correctly. And what also I wanted to leave is my actual set, but I don't have anything else to replace it with. So I'll probably leave it like that and then we will see. New Moon set. Should be a little bit better. Just a little bit. Well, I don't care about Corvobian. I need I got a quest. La Cage of Fou. Let's speak with Regis. So what I wanted to ask you is that because it's a very interesting situation, you see. I wanted to talk about it before, but and then I decided to wait a little bit for the tour, you know. So the question is it fair in your opinion? And it's you see, it's another philosophical dilemma, and this is why I wanted to do this quest before, while I was doing the Hearts of Stone DLC, and I was looking for this quest, but I forgot that it's one of the main quests in the Blood and Wine DLC. Is it fair what Gontor Odim did to this woman? Now, you know, when I'm thinking about it, generally speaking, I feel like we know that Gontor Odim is kinda well, I don't want to use the word sadistic, because I feel like sadistic, it's something that we can attribute to human beings. I mean, Gontor Odim is clearly, he's not a human. It's some kind of a prototype of a devil. It's clearly not a good being. So when you make a contract with him, you see, saying that he's sadistic, it just doesn't make any sense, because since the very beginning... Okay, people who made those contracts with him, they didn't know that, I suppose. Though, you just need to be a little bit intelligent and think about such things, right? To understand that there's probably some trick. But in any case, we know that he's bad, so kind of calling him bad... We know that he's bad. Calling him sadistic, it's kind of... It doesn't really make any sense, because since he was never good. To be sadistic, you need to be... I mean, good or normal at some point, and then you kind of become sadistic. You can't be sadistic since the very beginning, you see, and Gontor Odim, it's just clearly it's evil, so you can kind of blame him for being sadistic, because evil is, it's always like that, it's always bad. a priori, or whatever the name is, how do you pronounce it? It's always bad. So what when I'm thinking about this situation, I'm actually curious what you think about this situation, because I feel like you know, this situation is quite interesting. What was that? This situation is... Why am I running all the time? I can stop running. Pressing control, I can stop running. So is it correct what he did to her or not? Because, like, usually we know that he's bad, and we tend to think that, well, he's bad, so yeah, it's probably not fair what he did to her. But at the same time, you see, it was her punishment for her arrogance, and I really don't like people like her. You might, you know, because it's not simply that she refused. What is that? Because it's not simply the fact that she refused to help him, because it happens, we all might refuse at some point to help someone for some reason. But it's the fact that it's how she said it, you see? She said, go away from here, I'd rather feed my dogs and give you something, or something like that, you see? She completely refused it. I understand that you might not follow any old traditions, and I'm against any kind of traditions, and I wouldn't respect those traditions either. But there is a difference between saying, sorry, we don't have any food or something like that, you see? Or sorry, I don't have any money to give you or something like that, you see? And, and saying that, go away from here, beggar, I'm not gonna give you anything, you're kind of, you know, pathetic, I'd rather feed my dog and stuff, you see? Clearly she was super arrogant. And it's bad. Clearly it's bad.
Think your friend's hand will make for a nice broth?
You've clearly honed your sense of humor. But we are not cannibals, Geralt. I took a fragment of tissue from the hand. It will suffice to prepare some resonance.
What did you do with the rest?
I cremated it, as our codex commands. A raven told me you'd acquired the necessary ingredient.
So clearly what she did is bad. And such people, unfortunately, in real life, such people, they are not getting punished, you see? Or in different stories, in the vast majority of cases. Sometimes it happens with time, but it's not always happens like right away. And some people kill still, and they do that for years, and some of them don't even get punished, don't get anything bad in their lives. They're just living their lives and die when they're 90 years old or something like that, while they were doing bad things all their lives, you see? So having this such situation, you see, it's a very it allows us to think about what would happen in a situation where the person who's doing something bad get a punishment, and not 50 years ago. Like, it happened pretty fast to her, probably in a year or something, that she transformed into that creature, you see. That was a very fast consequence, or consequences, because things went horribly wrong. It's not only about how to transform into that creature. So you see, it's a very interesting situation, because I feel like I don't have an answer We know that Gontar Odim is kind of bad, and the way he did it is probably it was really too much for her. But at the same time, she learned a lesson, you see. She was living, based on what girl said, she was living like that maybe for 100 years or something like that. What is the limit, you see? Because I feel like I can compare the situation to the to Morkvark, you see, and these two situations are very similar. Morkvark was doing bad things, and he got punished for his bad things. He was transformed into a werewolf or whatever. But after helping him, even though he transformed back into human being, he didn't make any conclusions. He didn't realize his mistakes, you see. He said, "Wow, I'm finally free. What I'll do is that I'll go feast, I'll go drink, eat, and raid some people," you see. So probably the only solution in this situation is to kill him, and I killed him, you see. While here, this girl, or more like woman, granny at this point, she was living in this state for years as a beast. And when you come back, and we will come back, and you will see when we will speak with her, she will say that I right now I kind of realized my mistakes, and the only thing I want to do is to feed people and make them happy. She doesn't need an estate or something like that, you see. She just wants to eat food and share food with other people. So she actually made some conclusions out of this situation. That's how it's supposed to be, you see. That's how we humans are supposed to act. We make a mistake. Probably the most silly example that I can give you is about a relationship or a job or something like that. You find yourself a partner or something. You start to date and stuff, and clearly your relationship is not working. It's a toxic relationship or something. And then you break up for some reason, and you live after that breakup very, very awfully. It's very difficult for you to get over and move on, you see. It takes a lot of time, a year, 2, 3, it doesn't matter. So the conclusion that you should make is that you should probably avoid such situations. You should probably not avoid speaking with people, but you should avoid certain things. Toxic partners, or I don't know, finding partners at the club or on Tinder or something like that. Doesn't matter, you see. You should analyze your situation and try to understand what went wrong and at what point, to not repeat the same mistakes, you see. It's very important. But as you can see, not a lot of people do that. Some people do, and some other not. Morkvark didn't realize anything, so we had to kill him. But this woman, she realized something. And those are, you see, very similar situations, very similar examples. Both of them were beasts for years, yet one didn't think about the situation, didn't make any conclusions. But another one actually realized her mistakes. Though, you see, her punishment is still pretty harsh in my opinion, because it wasn't like she was this white thing for 1, 2, 3 years. It probably lasted for decades. Or centuries, I don't know. Geralt said centuries, so maybe it was centuries, you see. It's important to, I mean, it's important. It could be great if people who do bad deeds, they get punished, but for 200 years? It's a little bit like a person, someone kills someone else. One person kills someone else, and they get jailed for life. I'm not sure they will make any conclusions out of this situation because they can compare how it is living with, you know, with this kind of guilt and then this punishment and the years that you have lost, but living it in the jail or living free, you see. In order to understand how bad it is, and in order to not make such things again, you need to get punished for that, but not for the rest of your life. Because if you never see the sunlight, I mean in the real world, not in the jail, then you probably won't be able to compare how it is living in a jail and being free and living in a normal world. So, putting someone in a jail for years, a life sentence or 2 life sentences in United States is something crazy. I never understood that. Some people got a life sentence plus 10 years. What's that supposed to mean, man? You can't get more than a life sentence. You already paying with all your life. You're gonna stay there all your life. So what is this plus 2 years plus 5 years plus 10 years? Some people even got 2-3 time life sentences. You got only 1 life. You can't sit there 3 lives. We're not cats. So it's something crazy. But this overall situation, I find it very interesting, especially thinking about Gunther. You see, we know that he's bad, and we do not really expect anything good from him. But at the same time, was he really wrong to punish her like that? She was super arrogant. She get punished for that. I think in this situation, I don't have an answer whether he was wrong or not. I really don't like such people, you see. I really don't like people who say such things, you see. Because as I said, it's the manner that she said that. It's not simply, sorry, we don't have anything. Sorry, we don't have any food or something like that. It's how she said it. I'd rather give it to my dogs. And I really, it's almost like, you know, the only feeling that you can have is kind of despising such people for such answers. You're greedy, you're arrogant, then here's your punishment. I don't know, a very difficult situation, see, but something that we need to think about. I find this situation difficult, but at the same time very interesting. Another philosophical dilemma, you see.
Pretty helpful creatures. Calling them often?
I try not to overdo it, but they can be so useful, as they were now, when I merely needed to be sure I could arrive in time should things go sour.
Managed fine alone, but thanks for the thought. Gonna need much longer to finish brewing resonance? Mentioned a last ingredient, too. What about that?
That, I fear, might prove troublesome. You see, to use the concoction to summon the memories of one, the solution must contain the blood of another specimen of the same species.
Shouldn't be a problem. I happen to know a higher vampire who should be willing to help. Right, Regis?
It's not that simple, I'm afraid. While you were away, I tried my damnedest to identify a replacement, but alas, none such exists.
Not sure I understand what the problem is. Can't we just draw some of your blood?
The blood must be in an agitated state. As I'm certain you know, higher vampires can change their corporeal shell. As our flesh changes, so does our blood's chemical composition. To make a long story short, I shall need to induce in myself a state of strong psychokinetic arousal. In brief, madness, rabidity. And that stands to be very, very dangerous.
Dangerous? Why? I mean, you'll still be you, right?
True, but I should be highly agitated, in a state of fury. You know better than I that fury cannot be controlled. If you've ever seen an enraged vampire, you know very well that all who find themselves nearby will be in grave danger.
How will we handle that? I'd rather not have you lunge at me, claws extended.
That makes two of us. But worry not. I've thought it through very thoroughly. Details to follow soon.
All right, so what do you want to do?
We shall visit Teshem Mudna, an ancient vampire estate. There we will find cages suspended in the air. I will enter one, be confined. You will lure beasts there. Beasts you will then kill. The bloodletting should prove profuse. Abundant enough so that the blood scent will drive me mad. Wild.
Teshem Mudna. What's it like?
It is a place of torment. A torture chamber. Long ago, shortly after we'd arrived in this world, one among us named Kagmar developed such a taste and lust for human blood that in one night he could imbibe an entire village. This brought trouble on the entire species. Common folk wearied quickly of living in constant fear. They began to hunt us, seek the aid of mages and witches in tracking us down.
So what? Not like they could ever hope to kill you.
But they were bothersome. Forgive the comparison, but when did you last enjoy mosquitoes buzzing around your head? In any case, the other vampires decided something had to be done. Kagmar had to be caught and punished. A torture chamber was thus outfitted in the dungeons of Teshem Mudna. Inside it, a cage made entirely of a special alloy of silver, dalvinite, and meteorite steel. Kagmar was captured and locked in the cage. Sat there over 2 centuries, driven to fury time after time, never able to escape. Thus I know the cage will withstand the fury to which we shall drive my humble being.
See no reason to dawdle. Teshem Mudna. Take me there.
In a moment. Just one last thing.
What was that?
Blood. Oh, the last favor the Raven did me. I've also taken some Sancurium, a solution that sharpens one's sense of smell. One drop of blood shall smell like a gallon to me now.
You crazy? You're a recovering addict.
Your outrage warms my heart, Geralt. But you must remain calm. I had no choice. As things stand, the die is cast. High time we set off for Teshem Mudna. My head's spinning already, and you're starting to smell quite tasty.
And you're starting to scare me.
They have a very long dialogues.
We have arrived. The sacrificial chamber of torture and torment lies underground.
You lead. Scurvers must be getting close to their feeding ground.
Correct. I told you there'd be danger. Beyond this wall lies
an ancient vampire dungeon. Seen a lot of things in my time. Nothing quite like this, though.
I feel honored. A man with such a wealth of experience, yet I'm about to show him something new. Now, to open it. ancient form of protection against unwanted guests. The mechanism which releases the latch reacts only to a higher vampire's blood.
Tricky mechanisms, a vampire hideout. Fortified, secured. Must have been important to your species once, Toussaint.
It shall always be so. During the conjunction, the gate from our world into this one opened upon this land and no other. This was the first place we saw.
They just keep talking and talking and talking. In any case, this is the end of part 44, because if I continue, it's gonna, with all this dialogues, it's gonna last 4 hours. This is the end of part 44, and I guess that's it. I'll continue very soon with part 45. I'm actually curious how many hours do you need to, how much time in general do you need to finish this DLC? We will see. In any case, oops, my spoon, but not the same spoon that White was collecting. That's it for now.